Hello. All right, so today I wanted to discuss your 9 to 5 job, if of course you have one. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail with next Saturday's video when I'm talking about finding your passion and working within it and living your life to the fullest. So I wanted to kind of emphasize today that I have started on a journey online, and I am finding myself ridiculously motivated, I guess is the best way to put it, with life lately. And what I find is that whenever you're pursuing your passion, when you're pursuing something that truly makes you happy, and I personally believe that it could certainly be in the form of a hobby, that life tends to just fall in the right place. And so I'll talk about that a little bit more on next Saturday's video, but I wanted today to talk about your 9 to 5 job. And we all end up being within points in our life that we're trying to seek out what we have to be able to make an income. We have to be able to provide for ourselves and for our families. And so what I found throughout my whole life is that I struggled with what is that true passion? What is it that makes me want to get up in the morning? What is it that makes me feel alive? And I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse now for almost 17 years. And even throughout that, as many different areas of nursing that you can go in, even throughout that, there have been many times that I felt like, oh my goodness, is this really what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? And that sounds really horrible. I love people. I love what I do. But in the different avenues of nursing that I was in, I found myself still wanting something more. So eventually I ended up going into a management type position, and that fulfilled me a little bit more. And I'm in a position now that I'm able to help people, still in a nursing type way, but help people to cope with some very difficult times in their lives or their loved ones' lives. And I'm finding myself much more passionate about life in general. Because of that, because I feel like I am adding value to somebody else's life. And so anyway, I feel like if I go too much into it, I'm going to take away from the video that I'm going to do next week. But the system that I've developed for the type of work that I do at my 9 to 5 is through Covey's daily inserts. And I've been looking forward to being able to share this video with you. As far as how I'm able to keep my tasks in order of priority and keep the things that are most important first and foremost throughout my day. And what I found is that it has truly helped me to be more productive, and it has helped me to keep priorities, to keep those things that are most important at the forefront within my sight through my planner, within my mind. And that way, as I'm going throughout my day, I am making sure that the tasks are being accomplished in order of priority. What I did previously was I would keep a clipboard. And for any of you that are nurses, you know that we are fans of clipboards. We could get the fancy clipboards. We could get the ones with the little calculators on them, the little storage stuff inside, and we are fans of clipboards. And for floor nursing, that is certainly the best system that I was able to use back then. Having a planner system for floor nursing certainly wouldn't have worked as far as the busyness that you end up having to do when you're working the floor as a nurse. Opening up a planner every 5 seconds, of course, wouldn't work for that. But as time has gone along, and I've gotten into more of a management type position, I've found that using a planner keeps me on track. So what would happen in management, before I started using my planner, I'd have my clipboard, and I would write my task on there as to what I needed to get accomplished throughout the day. and I am a very visual kind of person, and so I would want to get rid of, make my list shorter. And instead of focusing on the things that were priority, I would focus on what I can get done quickest, and I would mark it off my list so that I can shorten my list. And then what would happen at the end of the day, I would get to the end of the day and I would go, oh my goodness, I had to get that done, and here it is, and I don't have time. And I would beat myself up for that. I can't tell you how many times I beat myself up for that. Something else that I used to do was sticky notes. I was one who, on my computer screen, I would call so-and-so on my computer screen, thinking that I would look at it the next day. I would have a sticky note on my desk pad with, certain daily tasks that I wanted to get done each day. But what's going to happen? If it's on your computer screen and it's a sticky note and it's there for any length of time, you get to where you're not even recognizing that it's still there. You're completely glazing over it because it's such a fixture that you're not focusing on what the content of that sticky note states. And so, or at least that's what's happened for me. So I found that I wasn't, that system certainly was not working for me. So, and then of course, if you're doing a sticky note and you're putting it on your desk pad, what happens for me is I end up covering it up. I cover it up with the work that I'm working on, and I forget that that's even there. And like I say, I struggled for many, many years with coming up with a system that would work for me and that would keep me organized, keep me focused, keep my priorities front and center. And through those years that I was struggling with that, I found I was getting frustrated. And I thought that my frustration was because of the work that I was doing. And there were many times that I was actually considering venturing off into another career because I felt like I felt so frustrated in my day-to-day, 9-to-5 job. I just felt so frustrated, and I thought that it was because of the work that I was doing, the kind of work that I was doing. And then I realized that that wasn't the case. I realized that my frustration was with my process. My frustration was with my method of operation. And when I corrected that method of operation, when I developed a system that worked for me and keeps me on task throughout the day, I get to the end of the day and I had this sense of accomplishment. That sense that says, by golly, everything that I needed to get done, I got done. Or at least everything that was priority, I got done. And when I got to the end of the day and there were things that needed to be forwarded on to the next day, they were things that it was okay to forward on to the next day. And I didn't have to go home feeling guilty about it. I didn't have to go home thinking, oh my gosh, I should have called so-and-so. They're going to be so upset with me. Or I didn't feel the need to stay another hour to 2 hours at work to finish the tasks at hand. I could wrap up my day, go home with a clear conscience because what was being forwarded to the next day, it was okay. So I can't say that I came up with this system on my own. I didn't. The system that I'm using is Franklin Covey, and if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I use his system for work. Now, I do have other planner systems you'll see over here. Of course, I am not crazy. Those are not all planners. Some of that's journaling. But I do have my daily planner here, and I do have my online business planner here. And I don't use Franklin Covey for those. It's not the same. For me, what I've discovered with Franklin Covey's system is that they spent, I haven't done the research, so I guess I don't really know the full answer to this, but I do know that they have done a lot of research. They have put many, many hours, and I want to say it's even been decades worth of productivity research that goes into how they designed their planners, their planner pages. And I get it. I totally get it. And I feel like whenever you guys walk through the system with me, you'll understand why it works so well. And I'm not an expert on this. I'm only showing you what works for me. But there are, if I can find the name of the book, I'll put it down, but I'll put it in the link below. If I can't, I believe that Miss Vicky B, her channel, she talks a lot about Franklin Covey and the research, that you could certainly find it there. And I'll link her down below as well. But that system is very, very good for my 9-to-5 job. Now, when I'm talking about my daily planning, this is where I'm using Lime Life. And you're going to see me go through that, and you're going to understand why that works so well for daily planning in your home life. It works very, very well. In my online business, yikes! I thought that this was going to work really well for me, and I don't think it's the planner. This is a plum paper planner. I don't think it's the planner. I don't think it is their layout. I think it's a beautiful planner. It was well designed, well thought out. I think because this is a new venture for me, and there are so many different things that I'm dabbling with online, I'm having a hard time developing, staying on task, developing a routine, because with the different things that I have going on online, I need to make sure that I'm staying on a schedule with my YouTube channel, with my blog, with things that I'm doing through a couple of other areas. I'm struggling. So I'm going to probably talk about this really soon, because if it doesn't end up working for me, I am the kind of person that if I spend money on it, by golly, I am going to use it. And so I'm not blaming Plum Paper Setup at all. It's me. And if I don't develop a way that it's going to work for me, I'm going to be reaching out to you guys and doing a lot of YouTube video searching myself to figure out what I can do to make this work. Because in reality, this particular planner needs to handle 5 different areas of what I have going on online. And I got to figure out how to make that work. I can't sit here and have a different planner for every aspect. That's just crazy. So anyway, if I can't make it work, I'm going to be reaching out to you guys to see if you have any suggestions. But anyway, I'll talk about that another time. So kind of going back and coming full circle is what I realized is that it wasn't my career. It was the frustration within myself that I couldn't figure out how to put first things first, how to put priorities first, how to get through my day and go home feeling like I made a difference. What's the purpose of us being a nurse? We're nurses because we want to make a difference in people's lives. We want to help people. And you know, going throughout the day and feeling like I'm running in circles is not helping me nor somebody else. And so I wanted to be able to figure out a way that would help that. And so through I knew about Franklin Covey before I started watching YouTube videos, of course. I knew about him simply because I saw the products at Office Depot or Office Max. And I've known some people in a professional setting that have used the inserts before. Didn't place a lot of stock in it, to tell you the truth. I was really kind of like, oh, you know, not really understanding why they were even sharing with me that they had a Franklin Covey. I didn't have any idea until I started using it. And when I started using it, I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I understand why people just swear by that system. I don't think it wouldn't work for me in these other areas of my life. Or it would be difficult for me to wrap my head around it. I guess that's the best way to put it. But for the 9-to-5, it certainly works. And so I'm going to flip the screen around in a minute and show you the walkthrough. But I did want to show you from this angle as far as the size, if you can kind of tell. Now, I'm a little bit of a big girl, so forgive me, but this is your A5 size. And it's thick. Can you see that? And I think one of the things that I really want to be able to point out is how much I have in there. Now, I can't put the entire year's worth of planner in there. I think I have 5 months in there at a time. Based upon the kind of work that I do, I want to make sure that I'm able to keep a month behind the month that I just finished, my current month, and then at least the next 3 or 4 months, because there's oftentimes that we're having to plan for events and things like that, and I want to at least have that in there. Now, I keep the monthly spread for the entire year, but as far as the monthly plus the daily spread, I'm usually looking at about 4, 5, 6 months that I'm going to put in there. It's according to kind of what's going on and I don't know, it kind of varies. But anyway, she's working beautifully, and I think that for someone who has a management type position, or someone who has a position that requires focus in many different areas, and you're not just focused on one or two specific tasks throughout your day, then this would certainly be a good viable tool for you to use to keep yourself on track. I'm hoping that you enjoy the video, and I'm hoping that it brings some value to you and maybe gives you some ideas, sparks some inspiration with how you can be more productive. And just to kind of wrap up before we get started is that I will be posting a video, one with my plum paper setting as far as my online stuff, when I feel like it's starting to work for me. If I don't feel like it starts to work for me, I'm going to be posting a video because I'm going to want your guys' help. And then the other thing I want to talk just really briefly about before we flip over to the Franklin Covey inserts is my Malden. I got the Malden. It was my favorite. It's what I wanted. It's beautiful. I like the floppiness of it. It's probably not. I'm probably not going to continue to use it. There is a possibility that I will sell this. There's a possibility. I'm not sure. I have actually ordered the A5 Filofax Original in fuchsia, and I'm waiting for that to come in. And I have the Lime Life inserts that should be here any minute. And once that's set up for my daily, I'll kind of walk through that. But some things about the Malden that doesn't work for me is the very front and all of the pockets and stuff. Now, I keep my daily planner at home. If I have all these pockets, I feel like I need to make it cute. But it's not functional for me because I do my daily planning at home. I don't need pockets for stickers and note pages and all that. I don't really need that. And so it's just like a lot of fluff for me. But I can't sit there and let it be empty. And I'm not really a pretty planner. If y'all can see that, that's like the extent of my prettiness. And even that makes me feel like, oh, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me. I'm not a pretty planner. So, I don't know. I'm gonna do something different. And I'm hoping, I like the way that the Filofax Original, the inside of the front flap was much more simplified. And I think I'm gonna like the more sturdy structure of it. When I'm looking over here at my domino, which I like my domino, I think it's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to end up dropping all of my stuff. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And Posh Pieces by Melissa on Etsy. She's pretty. So anyway, I think it's beautiful, but I felt like she was better served as my desktop filing system. And I'll go through that some other time. But the structure of this and the simplicity of the inside flap, I think is what I really need more for my daily setup. So I don't know, we'll see. Stay tuned. I mean, if somebody is interested in a purple Malden, it's possible. I'm not making promises, but it's possible that I'm going to sell it. I may hang on to it for just a little while to make sure that what I'm thinking I didn't like about it was truly, I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, it's a possibility I'm going to sell it. So hopefully here pretty quickly I'll get the original in. I'll get the Lime Life inserts in. I'll start to use it and be able to show you guys how that's working for me. Being able to plan my day has definitely made a difference in my life. I have been doing this not very long, and I've already collected what you see here. I did not realize that, let me backtrack. There's been, for years, I have said I wanted a hobby, and I couldn't wrap my mind around what it is that I wanted. I considered playing the piano. I considered, oh my goodness, all kinds of stuff. And I wanted a hobby, and nothing really was sparking like true interest to make me want to do it on a daily basis. I'm telling you that between the planners and the journaling and what I'm doing online, I am a happy camper. I think my video just did something weird. I deeply, deeply apologize. But anyway, between the planners and the journals and what I'm doing online, I am certainly happy, and I'm realizing now what it means to do something that you really love to do, which is why I'm going to do the video coming up about pursuing your passion. Can I tell you that my online ventures are making me money right now? Nope, they're not. They're not. But I believe with my whole heart that whenever you're doing what you are passionate about, when you are enjoying what you're doing, that the other benefits are going to come. And I will update you on the day that it does. All right, so in the meantime, we're going to get started on looking into the inside of my Franklin Covey. This is the Planner Love in Gold. Here we go. All right, here we go. This is my Franklin Covey. It is the classic Planner Love in Gold. It is a very soft material. This is synthetic, it's not real leather, but I think it's a really pretty gold. I don't think that the camera is really doing it justice, unfortunately. But this is a magnetic closure. It's not a snap closure. And if you'll notice, whenever I unsnap it, how it actually pops up a little bit, that's because this little baby is actually really stuffed with work-related things. So it just goes to show you that the magnetic closure is pretty tight, and it does keep it together really well for me. And then right down here at the bottom, I really like my little gold heart. I think it's really cute. So this is the outside, and when you open it up, this is what you're seeing when I first open it up. And so a couple things I want to point out in the very beginning is that this is my first planner that I have had the gold rings, and I actually think it's really pretty. Now these are 1¼ inch rings. The Franklin Covey that I had before was the Franklin Covey Brie that you can get like at Office Max, and I don't know the size of the Brie's rings, but I can tell you that they were not as large as this. This 1¼ inch ring is doing really well for the amount of inserts that I need with my job. So, and of course, Franklin Covey is known for their quality, and the ring quality certainly carries over into this Planner Love. So, if you'll also notice the very back of my, the back part of the fabric part of the lining in the binder is a white with black polka dots. I think that is really a really cute contrast. It also has 2 pin loops. This, of course, is my black friction. If you've watched me, you know that I'm obsessed with friction pins because I am an eraser, and this one actually erases really, really well. So I do use black, of course, for work. And then over here is just my Bic pink highlighter that I'll use throughout my monthly planning. But here I'm just going to keep some business cards for myself and my boss, and then my own business card down here, of course, covered up. Over here, what you'll notice is, and I'll explain the dividers in a minute, but this pink right here is actually one of the dividers that came in the set from Franklin Covey. And I keep it there because I think the pale pink is really pretty in contrast with the other things that I have going on my inside here. And I also keep work-related pages behind it. So if you'll notice, I have a little magnetic clip here. I'm a little bit of a dork, and I go a little bit above and beyond when it comes to wanting to keep things cute. So forgive me, because I know this is going to sound really strange to some, but this clip reminds me, if I have it right here, that I have something work-related behind there that I need to take care of. Otherwise, this clip is going to go right there, and that's its home. So if I have it up here, then there's something behind this divider that I need to be doing something with. So that is why that is there. And then if you will notice, I am I just got this, and I think it is just so cute. I got this, it was actually in the jewelry section at Michael's, and then this is a gold paper clip that came from Michael's as well. This is just a little, I think it's like thank you card or note card that comes with little envelopes that you can buy from Barnes & Nobles. I don't think they carry it anymore. I've had this for a really long time. This is one of my last two. But it just has, if you can tell, it just has my initial there. And I put it there just because I think it's cute. I think it goes with the setup that I have. And this is just paper clipped onto that. So that is the inside front cover. Moving over into the start of my binder. Let me just kind of give an overview first. I do have the dividers that I have came with the Franklin Covey Planner Love. It's their dividers. Now I only use 4 of them, and plus this one is the 5th one, but I only use 4 of them for my work binder. I didn't need all 12 of them because my my inserts came with the monthly tabs in there, so I didn't need all 12 of them. So I picked out which ones I thought were really cute and decided to section it out into 4 different sections. So that's where these dividers came from, was from the Franklin Covey Planner Love, and you can of course get to that through the link that I'll list below. On the very front, this is a Ziploc pouch that it is the Franklin Covey Ziploc pouch, but I actually purchased it through Amazon. And just inside here, the only thing functionally in here that I use is just the sticky notes, and this is just your standard sticky notes just in case I need them, which I usually don't in my binder, but I wanted to make sure that I had them there just in case. This is a journaling card from Heidi Swapp that I just thought was really cute. And this is just a little flower that came from Michael's, and I didn't do anything special with it. I just took it off and stuck it in there because I thought it was pretty. So the only purpose for this little baby is just to keep my sticky notes. But anyway, so that's how that is set up. And I think that the overall look of the inside is just it's inspiring for me to have that prettiness carry through with me while I'm at work. And it sounds kind of silly, but I actually think it keeps me doing what I need to do. Ignore the back, it's not so cute. But and then of course on my dividers, my very front section these are work related items, and it's just a full length 8 by 11, whatever the regular size pages that I punched on the top with the Franklin Covey hole punch, and then I just folded it over on itself. These are the things that I need to keep track of on a pretty consistent basis, and so that's why that section is there. It's because it's one of the things that I need to make sure I'm looking at pretty much every morning. And then this section I'm going to come back to, but isn't that divider pretty? That is so pretty. So anyway, I'm going to come back to this section because this is the main reason why I wanted to do this video, is to let you guys be able to walk through this and show you guys how I stay productive at my normal 9 to 5 job. And then we flip back to the very back. This divider, the notes tab right here, actually came with the dividers. It gives you some of the divider options. Actually, I have it right there. This actually came with the dividers. It has the months and then events and traditions, vacations, stuff like that. But I only needed it for the notes, so that's why that is there. And it's just blank note pages, and I'll explain how I use that whenever I go through my daily dividers. And then this very back section, I don't have it labeled because I don't need to, but these are just reference pages from work that I just need to have on hand in case I need to refer to something throughout the day. And then on the very back, and I'm not going to, let me see. I apologize, I need to be careful how I do this. On the very back is just, you know, your normal slide-in tablet. So, let me go back to the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to show you guys in how I keep myself productive at work. So this is my monthly and daily planning when it comes to work. I'm going to flip over to a future month. Unfortunately, I can't show you exactly how I do it. It's not information that I'm privy to being able to share. But if I look at the month of November, so what is going to happen with this month is I'm going to be able to put anything that is just like an overall general view. Like I'm going to mark in here the days that I've scheduled off for whatever reason. If there are meetings that I know that happens on a routine basis, or that I know the month ahead, then I'll be able to jot them down so that I can add them into my daily planning. And then just future planning in general. Sometimes I have to go to trainings, or I have to conduct trainings, things like that. I can plan that into my month before I actually get into my daily planning. And this is a really good reference for me. And so what I'm going to do is, let me see if I can kind of show you. I am actually going to keep, and I can't show you the current month, but I'm actually going to keep the current month and the current page clipped together with the clip. That way it's just a really quick flip over. Whenever I need to work on my day planning, I can flip back to the month really easily and see if there's anything specific going on for that day. So let me pause for a second, because one of the things that I think is really important is that I think that it is best to plan my work day the night before. And that way I'm going to bed at night with a clear idea of what's happening the next day, and I'm not running through in my head, oh, I got to remember to do this, or I got to remember to do that. I actually suffer a little bit from insomnia, and whenever I do that, it prevents me from sleeping. But if I plan out my day ahead of time, and then I just grab my planner and go, when I get to work, if there's things that alter the day, I have this wonderful little erasable friction pen that I can just that I can make changes if I need to. Now, this isn't like my home binder. This isn't, you know, with my home binder, I want things to stay nice and pretty and neat and clean and all that. I can't show you my previous pages, but this is not to where my handwriting has to stay nice and cute. This isn't where I'm going to use a lot of washi tape and stickers, although I'm really not a pretty planner anyway. But this is really, truly more functional. The decorations that I've shown you so far, plus these two I'll show you in a minute, is pretty much it when it comes to planning out my days at work. So this is the Planner Love little page finder, and it just clips in. And I keep that there so that whenever it's closed, it's just a really quick thing for me to pop it open to the current day. Now, in my line of work, I am a manager, so in my line of work, I carry this with me everywhere, and I am in and out of this little thing all day long. It keeps me on track. So I keep that on the day, so it's just a really easy flip over. Over here, I have, once again, both of these are Hottie Swap cards. This little thing is just, I move this from day to day to day, because these are the things that I need to do on a routine basis during my day at work. So once this day is over, I'll move it to the next day. And that's all that is. It's just a Hottie Swap card, journaling card that I just hole punched and put in. This is also a Hottie Swap card, and it's blank with just the time flies in gold foil here. I added the washi tape down here because I thought that it was cute. And then these are just little stars. The washi tape was purchased from Staples. And then these are just little stars. I'm sure I got that from Office Depot or something. And this is something that I need to do on a weekly basis. So once it's done, I move it to the next Monday. So that's what the purpose of these two are. Now, on this section here, this is where I typically am going to write down things that once I get through my daily tasks, if there's other things that I really want to focus, other things that I really want to get accomplished, or projects that I might want to work on, this is where I'm going to write those notes down. And this is also where I'm going to write notes down as far as significant things that happen during that day. And in my line of work, it's a lot of customer service. And so if there was something significant that happened customer service related, I would jot it down here. So if I needed to refer back to what day that was, then I could go back and find out what day that was. And then if there's any planning, like if I want to do some continuing, if I want to conduct some continuing education, and I have someone that says, I want to be part of that class or whatever, I can add that into here. So this is more, things that I need to have on my day-to-day page to refer back to just in case. But that's, of course, the notes pages. And I like it that Franklin Covey at the top of the daily pages gives some kind of quote, like this particular quote says, "Bad times have a scientific value. These are occasions a good learner would not miss." And it's different for each day, so I really like that. I actually do read that every day. But anyway, so that's what I use this for. Now, I referenced earlier that my little note page is back here. So what I'll do each day is I'll take a note page out and I'll stick it right here. And what that is going to do is the things that I'm working on throughout the day, I'm going to, let's say I needed to review a chart. Then I would have that page here and I would make notes on that page as to the condition of that chart or things that need to be corrected in it or something like that. So that is more of a working type page that I don't necessarily need to remember the details, that once I'm done with it I can take it out and shred it. But it's there so that it's really quickly at hand in my open daily spread that I can just jot some notes down, and then at the end of the day when everything is done, I no longer need that. I don't need to reference back to it at a future date. So that's why I use those note pages, and pretty much every single day it is slipped into my daily. And then once the day is over, I take it out and I shred it. So that's what that is. The most important, most exciting part of Franklin Covey is the way that they have their daily inserts designed, the first page of their day on 2 pages. And I'm still a little bit technology challenged, so forgive me, but I can't really zoom in. So I'm just going to have to explain to you what this says and how it works within the system. So of course over here on the appointment schedule, this is where I'm going to have blocked out any meetings that I have, anything that I need to check on a routine basis, any classes that may be scheduled or whatever. The things that are very time specific, this is where I'm going to put those. Now, I'm not going to do the routine daily things because that's what this is for. This is going to be for the things outside of that. So as I'm sitting here planning my day, if I need to plan a meeting with a family member or something, then I will real quickly just refer to this and know that I can't do this at 8 o'clock because at 8 o'clock I have this meeting every day. I can't do this at 4 o'clock because at 4 o'clock I have this meeting every day. So I automatically kind of know that, and I plan, the time around that. So the appointment schedule section is pretty self-explanatory. The daily tracker down here, the way that it's listed, it says you can track expenses, emails, voicemails, or other information. Basically what I use that for is if I need to return a phone call. I'm going to jot that down there so I can make sure that I can return that phone call by the end of the day. That's what I use that for. Now, here we go. This right here, the prioritized daily task list. This is what makes the system work so well for me. So basically what I'm going to do is the things that I need to get accomplished throughout the day, I'm going to list here. Now, this section, it says ABC right here. And that means that if it's A, if I categorize it as the letter A, then I have to get that accomplished that day. I'm going to pause for a second because as I'm planning my day the night before, I'm not going to prioritize it. All I'm going to do is list out the things that need to get accomplished in my next day. The next day, whenever I get to work and I get a good feel for how the day is going to flow, then I'll come in and I'll categorize it A, B, C, D. And usually in my line of work, we're usually at an A or a B. Things that have to get accomplished that very day, or something that can wait till the next day. And so I'm not going to put things in here that could wait any longer than that. If an item can wait longer than getting accomplished that day or the next day, I'm actually going to put that over here, and I'll use that for future planning. That way, if I get through my entire list and I want to start working on something else, I can, and that actually happens very frequently for me. And it keeps me from getting overwhelmed by this being, really long. So A's and B's is pretty much what is going to be here. Anything other than that is going to go there, and I'll just start working on it as I can if I get these items accomplished throughout the day. Now on this section here, this is probably the most important section there. And what it is that after I have my task lists, after I have it prioritized, then what's going to happen here is what's happening with those tasks. So let's say I have an item that is a category A that I know I need to get accomplished immediately. I'm going to be working on that first thing, and I get it done. I've done whatever it is. I can put a check mark here, and that indicates that that item is done. Let's say I had an item A and something changed and I no longer needed to do that item. If I put an X there, that means it's deleted. That way I'm not drawing a line through it. I'm not drawing a line through it, and I recognize that it was still an item. Because for me, sometimes I may say, no, I didn't need to do that. And I can go back and I can look at the day, and if I put an X there, I'll make a note on this side as to why that item was deleted. That way, if it ever comes up again, I know what my reasoning is. So that is for if I've deleted an item. Now, if I have an arrow, and the arrow is pointing to the right, that means that I have forwarded that item to another day for whatever reason it is. So if I have an arrow there at the very end of it, I'm going to have the month and the day that I forwarded that item to. So let's say I needed to have a family meeting, but they called me and said that they couldn't do it on whatever day, and I needed to forward it. Then I would have that arrow and I would forward that according to the day that we had agreed upon. So that would just be one example, although that's not an example that I use very often, but that would be one example. Okay, so let's say that I had a priority, and I had a lot of priorities that day, and there was a lot to get done, and I'm one person and I needed some help. So I asked a coworker to assist me with something. Then I would do a check mark and I would circle it. And then I would put that person's name beside that item. That lets me know that I had a conversation with Renee that she was going to do this for me. And, you know, if I were to come back later on, and although she would always do what I needed, if I were to come back later on and recognize that whatever it was wasn't done, I could say, hey, you remember we talked on October 1st and this is what we talked about. So that's why I put the name out beside it. And then the other one is just a little dot. If I have a dot in that, there's a lot of times to where a task of mine may not be something that I can just, you know, do really quickly and get it over with and mark it off. It could be something that requires several steps. So if it's a task that requires several steps and I've started the process, but I can't move on until this particular step is complete, then I'm going to put a dot there. And that way I know that I've done all I can do in the moment, but we're not all the way done yet. And so let's say that I get to the end of the day and it's not complete. Then what I could do is I could do one of two things. I could make it into an arrow and put my date at the back of it and forward it into the future. I could change it to a delegation and forward it in. Or I could just keep my little dot there, and if I keep the little dot there, then I know I've added it to the very next day, and I'm going to continue working on it that way. So whenever I get to the end of that's literally how I work out my entire day. And when I get to the end of the day, and I'm at home, and I am ready to clear my head of whatever it is, you know, whatever work-related items that I've gotten, then the way that this is designed helps me to make sure I'm planning my next day according to what is priority. You know, I'm in the healthcare business, and one of the things for me, and it could be this way in many other lines of work, but one of the things for me is, you know, priority is priority. There's a lot of things that just cannot wait. And being able to focus on what is most important throughout the day is absolutely critical. So this helps me be able to manage my day according to the items that are most important. So a lot of times whenever I'm at work, you know, the end of the day hits and I'm about to get ready to go home, I can actually flip over to the next day and plan it out really quickly. But sometimes, you know, you just have those kind of days to where you just need to go ahead and go and put work behind you for a minute. And then I have my planner with me that I bring home, and I can sit there and plan out my day later on after I've had a chance to relax and collect my thoughts. So even though this is a 9-to-5 work binder, I certainly do bring it with me home every single day. Once again, in my line of work, I could get a phone call, or I could think about something in the evenings. I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to get that done tomorrow. Or I could get a phone call that initiates something that needs to be done the next day. And I have this sitting on the bar in my kitchen. I keep it open to the current date once I get home. That way, if I think of something or I get a phone call, then it's a real quick matter of coming in here and writing it down for the next day so that I don't forget. One of the things for me is that I mentioned earlier that I have a little bit of insomnia. And one of the things for me is that what usually would keep me from sleeping at night is having so much on my mind that I couldn't close it down and just fall into a peaceful sleep, because it's one of those going over things over and over and over in your head. And this, as far as my 9-to-5 job, this has actually prevented me from having that particular struggle. One of the things that I'll go over a little bit more in my very next video. I've had a couple of people ask me about insomnia specifically, because that's something that I have pretty much overcome. I am going to go over in my next video on Tuesday, you know, the routine that I have set up that prevents me from staying awake at night. So if that's a problem that you have, stay tuned on Tuesday, and maybe the system that I have in place might work for you. But only other thing I wanted to draw attention to, and I couldn't really show it to you, is my back tablet right there. That is really just, if I'm in a meeting and I just want to jot down some notes from something that someone said, or it's more or less just like my doodle pad. For anything that's not, you know, specific enough or important enough to necessarily go into my daily spread, this is just where I'm going to kind of jot out notes or whatever. If I need to reference it, then I would come back in and add it in, but it's really just my doodle pad. So that is my 9-to-5. That's her. All right, I hope you enjoyed. I hope that it added some value to you and that you saw something in there that was inspiring. All of the necessary links for what you see in here I will certainly post below the video. And so I hope that it's a possibility that I've earned your subscription. And I wanted to say before I go, I know this is only like, I think it's my fourth video. And it's interesting to me how much more fun it is whenever I relax and I stop focusing on how many people it's a possibility is going to be watching this. But I'm really starting to enjoy it. I'm really starting to relax a little bit. I encourage you guys' comments. I would be encouraged to know what works for you and what you might be interested in seeing a video about. If you've watched a couple of my videos, you'll know that it's not just going to be about planning. It's going to be about pursuing life and passion and simplicity and the art of decluttering and pursuing relationships, pursuing the things that you are most passionate about instead of things and material things and how many pair of shoes you have and how many of whatever. I mean, I have found that whenever I have simplified my life with decluttering, minimalism, although this probably wouldn't say minimalism, but I'll show you, how suddenly your relationships mean more and you're starting to focus more on the things that really matter. And so that's really what my channel is going to be about. And if you have anything that you're wanting to hear about in relation to any of that, I will certainly take that into consideration for a future video. And as I mentioned before, my next one, because this has been presented to me in my personal life, is going to be about my routine on how I have corrected insomnia in my life, and you can expect that video this coming Tuesday. So give me a thumbs up if you liked my video, and I am hoping to see you again soon. Ciao. All right, I hope you enjoyed. I hope that it added some value to you and that you saw something in there that was inspiring. All of the necessary links for what you see in here I will certainly post below the video. And so I hope that it's a possibility that I've earned your subscription. And I wanted to say before I go, I know this is only like, I think it's my fourth video. And it's interesting to me how much more fun it is whenever I relax and I stop focusing on how many people it's a possibility is going to be watching this. But I'm really starting to enjoy it. I'm really starting to relax a little bit. I encourage you guys' comments. I would be encouraged to know what works for you and what you might be interested in seeing a video about. If you've watched a couple of my videos, you'll know that it's not just going to be about planning. It's going to be about pursuing life and passion and simplicity and the art of decluttering and pursuing relationships, pursuing the things that you are most passionate about instead of things and material things and how many pair of shoes you have and how many of whatever. I mean, I have found that whenever I have simplified my life with decluttering, minimalism, although this probably wouldn't say minimalism, but I'll show you, how suddenly your relationships mean more and you're starting to focus more on the things that really matter. And so that's really what my channel is going to be about. And if you have anything that you're wanting to hear about in relation to any of that, I will certainly take that into consideration for a future video. And as I mentioned before, my next one, because this has been presented to me in my personal life, is going to be about my routine on how I have corrected insomnia in my life. And you can expect that video this coming Tuesday. So give me a thumbs up if you liked my video, and I am hoping to see you again soon. Ciao.